Alright guys, today we're going to be looking at the unboxing and assembly of the Cars 2 Lightning McQueen Power Wheels vehicle. And the great news is when you pull this out of the box, this is just pulled out of the box, this is how it comes, the main part of the assembly, including the wheels on the car, are actually already assembled. So that's fantastic news. It really should take you no more than about a half hour to actually assemble this. You've got to put on the front bumper, the rear spoiler. You have to put in your steering column, that's the metal thing right there, along with the steering wheel and the sound box. And then you got to put the logos on. Now, just a tip of the logos is they come, kind of folded up, so you may want to, lay these flat with something on them ahead of time so they get kind of, fully flattened out as well too. And then, of course, the other big tip involves the battery. If you're giving this as a gift, you really want to pay attention to this right here. Stop before first use. The battery must be charged for at least 18 hours. When you actually read the manual, it says 18 to 30 hours. And if you look online for other users, you'll see about probably a full day's worth of charging is what it's going to need for this 6-volt battery here. So keep that in mind. But other than charging it, the actual assembly should be fairly good. So we'll go ahead and put this together here for you, and you can take a look. A tip here: when you're in the stage where you have to utilize the lock bolts, and you're supposed to utilize this tool. This is designed to tighten the lock nuts basically on the steering column here, as well as underneath the vehicle where the steering column goes and attaches to the front axle right there. You can use this tool here. It is largely kind of frustrating because it doesn't really get down in there like you need it, and it keeps slipping off. If you simply just use your socket set and you use, I believe it's the 15 millimeter. Yeah, it's the 15 millimeter slot right here. I'm not sure if you can read that or not, but attach that to your socket, put that on in here, and it's very easy to turn this thing. It makes it extremely simple, not a problem at all. So that's what I did to actually tighten that. You can get it much tighter than you could by fooling around with this thing right here. So hopefully that tip will. The view is, whenever you're working with putting, these plastic play toys together, and you're not really using the screws aren't threaded on the way inside where they need to go to. In this case, we have to put the spoiler on, and we have to align 4 screw holes here, down here, here, and here before you put the screws in. I mean, this may seem kind of like an obvious thing, but look to see where all the holes, to see if they line up. And inevitably, I always find that one of the holes doesn't line up perfectly. In this case, it's right here. So I'm going to need to bend that back so that I can now get the holes to line up perfectly, and that's the first one I'm going to work with. If you do the other 3 first and then you discover that last, it's going to make it much more difficult. You're going to have to unscrew some of the screws, and it's going to take yourself more time. So find the one that's the problem first. The same thing happened while putting on that front bumper, and save yourself some time if you identify the problem one first. Okay, and do that first. At this point, we have the car fully assembled, and actually what took the longest was just putting all the little decorations on. You have what looks like 24 stickers that you have to put on, and of course, anytime you're working with decals, it takes a while to make sure that you don't get any kind of pitting or wrinkling, or that you don't tear the decal itself. So that took a little bit of time. But outside of that, we're all set to go, except for simply waiting for the battery to be charged, and then we'll be installing it. So stay tuned. At this point, you have your battery has been charging for around a day, and it's ready to be installed in the Lightning McQueen. So you've got the hood raised up, and this is the battery compartment here. All you're going to do is move this forward. This is what's going to basically hold the battery in place. You're then going to place the battery inside there, put this back over top, and it's just a matter of connecting these cables. The cable's connected. You can close up the hood, and now your Lightning McQueen car is ready to go. Give it to your little racer and have them enjoy it today. Thank you.